Hello again, it's Jerry's Old Guy Review. Well, I guess I'm going to have to do what I'm calling a segment. This will be my second Ask a Question, Get an Answer. And this one is for one of my viewers named Mario. He was inquiring about the cable drive and how it works to actuate the diff locks and the 2-speed simultaneously. So, being that I'm kind of a visual aids kind of person, I figured I'll make a quick video for one of my loyal viewers. So, this one's for you, Mario. Now, I have 3 different RC 4-wheel drive trucks that run the cable drives. So you'll see right here are the diff locks. Right here is the 2-speed. And you have the other 2 cables that run back to the 2 rear diffs, which, in my experience, being a 30-plus year mechanic, I can show my age by the fact that my cable drives of my day are a little bit different than this. Now, I have true cable guides in that little peach over there. Quite a bit younger. It's a 77 Jeep. Real Jeep, I might add. Not a Dodge. I apologize if I offend anybody, but that's my feelings. So, these drives, for a visual aid, since these are so tiny, it's just hard to see that you have an outer skin, and then you have the small cable that runs inside. You'll notice how easy I move that. Now, got a little wire loom right here with some wire, which is actually a little beefier than this setup, but it all depends on the movement inside of the sheath, which is what these do. Right now I have it in, what do I have it in? I have it in low gear, no diff locks. Now, there's the 2-speed. So, we put her in high, and you saw that very small range of movement. That's high. That's low. High and low. And what I did notice about RC 4-wheel drives, cable drive, being that this cable is not solid. It's a floppy little cable. So, without splitting the gearbox, I'm assuming there's a spring inside of here that when you put it back to 2, or to low, it instantly releases the tension. And if you look at the gear, the arm on the differential, so it's off completely. Now it's on, it pulls. It does not use any mechanical force here. There's a spring that attaches to this arm. So when you turn it off, it'll instantly release. Which, whenever I'm storing this vehicle, I make sure the gearbox is in low before I store it, because that way that spring is not under tension, which if it wears out, I don't know if I can get one from RC 4-wheel drive. Same thing with the gearbox. It's under tension in high gear, but releases, becomes quite floppy in low gear. So I try to make sure I always store it like that so I'm not wearing out the springs. So now, just a quick, this is silly, but I believe in a good viz. So you've got one gear or one cable going one way. You have the other cable going another way. This is required that this end is stationary. The sheath, which you can see here, RC four-wheel drive's got those little, come on camera, do something. Okay, I'll just back up. So right here is a stationary clamp. It holds the metal sheath in place so that only the cable slides back and forth. And when the servo actuates one direction, depending on the routing of the cable, this one will either release or tighten, while this one does the complete opposite of what this side's doing. So you're basically taking the motion of the servo and using both ends to do two different tasks. So in these cable-driven vehicles, well, on this particular cable-driven vehicle, say a Traxxas TRX4 uses different servos. You have a separate servo for the 2-speed transmission, and you have a separate servo for the diff locks. RC four-wheel drive just decided to be more efficient and use it for both. So you route this one way so that it's opposite of how this other side of the servo swings. So instead of having a wasted movement, now say the RC four-wheel drive Desert Racer truck, which I also have, came with a single speed transmission. They could have put a 2-speed in it. It's called the Desert Racer, but they made it almost as slow as one of these trucks in first gear. So a little bit different. Maybe they weren't quite onto this technology yet. They were just trying it out. I mean, I guess I should say JD Models was. But being these trucks are great for what they do. But so far I've only seen, and I don't want to badmouth RC four-wheel drive, but I've seen some of these cables offered for replacement parts, which they've been selling these axles in the Armageddon for years. I've only seen these cables as replacements. I haven't seen these springs, and without breaking this diff apart, I don't know exactly what spring is in here, but springs, especially under tension all the time, are going to fail eventually. They will retain the shape of being compressed all the time, and then they're going to lose their action. And knowing that I can't find a replacement just yet for them, I'm going to just keep sticking to storing it under without the tension on it on both sides, making sure they're floppy. And also because I don't want to stretch these cables out. Cables do stretch. Don't let anyone tell you different. These will stretch. And if you store them constantly under tension, they will stretch. And then you're going to lose. You saw this very limited range of movement. It won't take much to wear that out. So once again, I try to store them all in neutral or first gear. So nice floppy tension. The spring inside of here should stay good for a while, and the springs over here on these arms should stay good. And I think that's about it. Mario, I hope I helped you out, and I appreciate, once again, all my viewers, all my comments. If I can answer a question that's you give me, I will always try to make a video. That is what I strive to do on this channel, is communicate with my viewers. And if I can help you out in any way, that's the only reason I'm making these. So for now, good night. Thanks for watching. This is Jerry. Later.